Good morning, my fabulous fangs. Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone is doing phenomenal and had a magnificent weekend. Welcome back to the cavern. For those who are new here, welcome. I'm Kasara, bringing the strange, disturbing, and at times terrifying. To the new subscribers, thank you so much for showing your support. You're amazing. I appreciate you all so much. You make this worthwhile. Last week, I mentioned I had no idea what I wanted to do for this month's theme. Well, I figured it out. Why not focus on my two phobias, my fear of clowns and dolls? I learned over the years that this is actually a common one. However, I never knew why I had this fear, and I still don't. I mentioned my fear of dolls before, and while yes, I had a doll that moved when it shouldn't have, I still felt unnerved around them way before that happened. A psychologist mentioned robots as an example. People respond well to robots even when they become more realistic. However, at some point, that comfortability changes. When the robots are very close to being lifelike, but then do something that is out of human character, that's when people start finding them creepy or unnerving. The human brain is designed to read faces for important information about intentions, emotions, and potential threats. So, seeing a face that looks human but isn't unsettles our brain and our basic human instincts. Some of it has to do with the movies that has been surrounding evil dolls that have been made. Others have a traumatic event associated with a doll or a clown. So you would think that maybe Chucky or It played a role in this. Well, I didn't watch Chucky until I was older. I was around 11 or 12 when I first saw Chucky, maybe even 13. I never even heard the music or was really around Chucky because my parents didn't really care for it. So when I first saw Chucky, I wasn't really afraid of him. I found him kind of funny, as weird as that might be. I think what may have contributed to my fear of dolls was Goosebumps. Slappy kind of freaked me out. I read the book, Night of the Living Dummy, way before I saw the episode. I was roughly 7 or 8 when I read the book. Although, I think I was afraid of dolls before then. So, when I was really little, my sister had this doll that could write all by itself. It even had its own desk. And it could hold pencils or pens or whatever, and you could put it in their hand. And as long as there was a piece of paper on their desk, they would write. Just really kind of creepy if you think about it. Now, I grew up during a time when dolls couldn't move unless you moved them. So now here's this doll that can move all by itself without you even touching it. I think that may have been why it freaked both of us out. And the fear of dolls actually shares a lot with the fear of clowns. Both are reactions to ambiguous, slightly off versions of a normal face. I'll admit my fear of dolls isn't as extreme as some people's. Some people have a fear of dolls so extreme they fear living, breathing children. And even mannequins. And both of those don't freak me out. Never have. The only dolls that freak me out are porcelain, plastic, and rubber dolls that look lifelike in just about every way. I think the weirdest doll I ever owned was a baby doll that could move and look just like a real infant. It even came with an adoption card with a name on it. Very creepy in my opinion, and it actually felt real, which made it even worse. A lot worse. The reason for the fear of clowns, though, is actually because the colorful makeup hides the clown's facial features and distorts the facial expressions, creating a feeling of distrust and negative intentions. It also depends on how the makeup is put on. I found out that when a person puts on their makeup and creates more sharp edges, it causes more of a sense of dread or evil appearance. For instance, if someone were to make diamonds on their face instead of rounding everything out, the same with the mouth makeup, if it's more angular, it makes people a little more unnerved. Which is actually how Gacy wore his makeup. He always had more angular, pointed edges than rounding anything off. Clowns also have been around for a very long time, since ancient times, actually, which I was surprised by. I knew about jesters and things like that, but I didn't know that the ancient Egyptians actually had a clown. I forget the name that they used for it. And ancient China did too. Every culture seemed to have some version of a clown there to make the leader laugh. However, clowns were always tricksters or pranksters causing mischief, which might be another aspect for the fear of clowns. Some also don't understand personal space or personal boundaries. Clowns, I mean. Some kids who are more comfortable with strangers may actually have a more positive look at clowns than a child who's not really comfortable with strangers, which I wasn't when I was a kid. I actually was afraid of strangers. Not entirely sure why. Might be because I went to a lot of different babysitters and had a horrible experience at a lot of them, so maybe that's why. I don't know. But a lot of clowns, they invade that personal space because, well, they're doing card tricks or the coin trick where it's behind the kid's ear and really it's been in their hand the whole time. Or they're handing the kid a balloon or whatever. So they're invading that space, and for a kid that's afraid of strangers and you have this person that's kind of weird looking approaching them, it can make them terrified. It's probably why when my aunt took my sister and I to the circus for the first time, and this strange person in a clown suit and makeup approached me to hand me a balloon, and I completely lost it. I screamed until we left. I was around 3 or 4 at the time. So, yeah, I've always been afraid of clowns. Psychology also says it may have to do with hereditary. If a parent is afraid of dolls or clowns, they may subconsciously show it, and the child is alerted that there might be something wrong with a doll or clown. I know my dad doesn't like clowns or dolls, and maybe as a child I picked up on it. Whereas my mother, she never really had any emotion towards clowns or dolls. So I think maybe I was picking up on my dad's feelings surrounding those. I don't know. I know the first time I ever saw an evil clown was the original It with Tim Curry. It scared the living daylights out of me, and granted, I was roughly 7 or 8 when I first saw it. However, I was already afraid of clowns, as you know. I don't know, honestly, what caused it. Kind of like dolls. I'm not entirely sure when it started or if there was a traumatic experience surrounding a clown, doll, or whatever. I have no idea. I'll admit the new Pennywise I don't find scary at all. I'm not sure what is so different from the original. The only thing I can honestly think of is the original Pennywise, the costume, at least looked like Bozo, the clown. I'm not sure if any of you remember that show on TV. It's very old. I think it was like in the 60s, 70s. I saw it. Not sure how I saw it, but I do remember Bozo. And that character actually scared me. I don't know what it was about Bozo, but he freaked me out. So now you have this clown in a horror movie that looks similar to Bozo. Has that same innocent appearance, but instead now with sharp claws and teeth. Needless to say, that gave me nightmares like you wouldn't believe. However, this new one just doesn't have that same effect on me, which kind of made it flop. At least for me it did. Despite everybody else who loved it. I kind of wish I did, but can't like everything that everybody does. However, I'll admit I'm not as afraid of clowns as I was when I was a kid, and maybe that's why. I don't know if it's because I'm older now and I've seen creepy clowns a lot over the years. I've even drawn them. I still find them creepy, but not to the same extent as when I was a child. I don't know if I'm desensitized. Maybe I am. Because I've seen a lot of that type of stuff. For those of you with the same irrational fear of clowns and dolls, let me know what may have contributed to your fear if you know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Later this week I'll be discussing killer clowns and no, not Gacy. I'll save him for later since his story is troubling and I have to brush up on my knowledge surrounding the case because I don't really remember everything. I'll also share my review of Haunt, which is kind of about clowns. Kind of. I believe you can still watch it on Shudder. I own it now, so I have no idea where it's available, to be honest, but I'll double check and get back to you. If you have a clown or doll movie you'd like me to check out, let me know in the comments. It doesn't have to be horror. It can be any type. I don't care. Thanks again if you enjoyed this video, which I hope you did. Like and subscribe to show your support. If you didn't like the video, let me know why in the comments below. I don't mind constructive criticism. How else will I learn how to improve and make this more enjoyable for all of you? Don't want to miss the upcoming content, click that bell icon. Can't wait for more. Check out my other videos on the screen. It's greatly appreciated. Take care until next time. Bye, everyone.